Well, welcome back, Spartan fans. My name is Guy Danoff to another edition of the MBU Football Coaches Show with Coach B. Coach, I know you're coming off a bye week. I have to ask you, what have you been doing this past week besides working on that golf game?
Yeah. Well, I wish I got to work on a golf game. No time for that. But we gave the guys a couple days off.
Okay.
Gave them Friday, Saturday off, Sunday off, and then we're back at it today. But got some time at home. Didn't seem like very much downtime chasing kids at different softball games and flag football games, you name it. But no, it's a nice chance to kind of recharge, get a lot of film in, and start getting ready for this week.
Absolutely. So the Spartans enter in at this point at 1-4 overall, 0-2 in the hard play, while our opponent William Penn is coming in with a 5-1 record, 1-1 in the conference, but their only loss is to the top-ranked Grandview. And this weekend, you're set for kickoff at 12:30 this Saturday in Oskaloosa, Iowa. And Coach, I have to ask you, now that you're coming off the bye week and getting prepared both mentally and physically, what have you been doing to prepare your team?
I think last week we spent a lot of time just getting back to the basics. I think as you get into the week-to-week grind, you start losing some of the time on technique because you're working a little bit more on scheme. That's something we try not to lose a ton of, but it just, as the season wears on, you got new guys in. So just really getting back to a lot of technique time, trying to get their bodies back, focusing on just some of the base game plan stuff and getting ready for this week, like you said, kind of recharging them a little bit physically and mentally. We got a good William Penn team at the end of this week, but one that we feel like we can go in and compete with is definitely.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the first half of the season, kind of in review. Let's start with your offense. It starts with actually your quarterback, Jacob Jones, continues to shine as a dual threat leader with basically 1,152 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, and yes, 325 rushing yards with 6 rushing touchdowns through 5 games. I was wondering if maybe you speak to his play.
Yeah, he's been really good. I think the last time on the podcast that I did a week ago, we talked about just how he's such a good game manager.
Yeah.
I think he's made really good decisions throughout the course of the year. He's had a couple interceptions. Some of those were not on him. That the protection broke down. He kind of got hit as he threw, but I think he's made really good decisions. He's a threat with his legs as much as he is with his arm, but his accuracy on the deep balls and just his overall command of the offense has been really good.
Well, speaking of accuracy, he's been connecting with Gavin Cloud, who so far has been our top target with 25 catches, 413 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Did you know that he now ranks second all-time in MBU in receptions and receiving yards, and only second to Isaiah King?
Yeah.
And kind of interesting stat for you, Gavin Cloud comes into this week at 1,694 yards. Isaiah 3,199.
Yeah.
So you talk about he's number 2, but why? What a gap between him and Isaiah. Just to talk about obviously the amazing career that Isaiah had, but nevertheless, Gavin also is now up to 12 touchdowns. And Coach, I was wondering if maybe I'll speak a little bit about what happened a year ago and why this is so significant because of what he had to really battle back from. I think it's one of the best stories I've ever heard in Spartan football because of what happened to him a year ago.
Yeah, actually, we got to go back 2 years ago.
2 years
Yeah, back to the 23 season. He was having a heck of a game versus Benedictine and just happened to come down wrong after making a catch, taking a big hit on the sideline. He came down wrong on his knee and tore his ACL. So was out all last year, really put in the work rehabbing, put in the work in spring ball and this summer to be ready for this season. And, it's his senior year. He's a guy who's been just a great program guy, a tremendous all-around athlete. I mean, he's done it all for us, kind of like Josh Munn. He's been a punter. He's been a wide out for us. He's done a little bit of everything. But he's having a great senior year. It's great to see, like you mentioned, that he's able to bounce back so well from that injury back in 23.
He always just seems to be that clutch guy when you need that clutch play. That's kind of what we see. Now, as we go to the defensive side, and this is no surprise to you, only given the fact he's a 4-year guy, he's come through the systems, come through the program. Let's talk about linebacker Evan DeWilde, who anchors the defense with 46 tackles, including 25 solo stops. And he's not even the middle linebacker. Talk to a little bit about Evan's play.
Yeah, we keep mentioning him week to week, and deservedly so. I think again it comes back to a guy who's put in a lot of work over his 4 years, and when we talk about developing guys, he's the type of guy that we look at, a guy who is going to commit to us for 4 years, buy into the process, buy into the program the way he has, and he's getting his shot. We knew coming out of spring ball, we had a really deep linebacker room. Coming into fall camp, we had a really deep linebacker room. He was taking some inside backer reps. For the first time, he played more on the outside for us. But we felt his best chance of getting on the field was to move inside. Of course, he's backing up Cade Beachside and Nick Stepney, and
Right.
we got Kenner Bai, who was just starting to come along. Well, of course, Cade gets hurt, and Evan steps in and hasn't missed a beat. He's done a tremendous job. He prepares at a high level and has done that for his entire time here. So, the nice thing is he's got another year if he wants it. I don't know, where that kind of stands right now, but he's making the most of his time on the field right now.
Well, I'll just tell you this. I had the chance to meet his parents because they're big tailgaters, and they're right there front and center, and they're always making something good. But they shared a really interesting story about him and Cade, and especially over this past year. They were talking about how they have this app just to see where they are, right? Like us parents, we always checking on our kids. Well, it was really interesting. They were looking to see where they were, and they would find themselves sometimes at one of the high schools that they used to go to, and sometimes they'd be there till like 10, 11 at night. And what were they doing? Either they're in the weight room or on the field, they're doing drills. I mean, it was amazing. Can you speak a little bit to that? Because that talks about the Spartan culture that I know that you've been doing ever since you got here.
Yeah, well, I think that it's a testament to them and
Yeah.
how much they care, but it's also just something that we preach day in and day out, is that if you really want something, you gotta put in the work. That's
Right.
a life lesson,
Right.
right? I think everybody shows up out of high school and like, "Oh, I'm gonna go start. Oh, I'm gonna go play," and they don't put in the work that's necessary. The guys that are studying the film, studying the, as we say, working on their craft
Correct.
constantly, it pays off. It shows up on the field, and that's true at every level. I think the thing I tell recruits and I say to our team a lot is that the easiest thing to do in life is to fail. You don't have to do anything. You show up, don't do anything, fail. That's easy. Miss class, get an F. That's easy.
Right.
The hardest thing is to earn that A, to go and earn that promotion, or earn the starting time that you want, or the playing time you want. Um, and yeah, it's a testament to them. Like, those guys are very close, and they would sit and watch film together and, kind of diagnose, what does a good linebacker do? What makes them successful? Not just in a scheme standpoint, but, how can I read a guard better? How can I attack this play better? And all those little things, if you're serious about it and you truly love it, that's what you're going to do.
Right.
And they do it, and it shows out.
Absolutely. I thought that was just one of the coolest stories that I have
Oh,
heard,
yeah.
and they were sharing that with me. I thought that was cool. So, Coach, what have you been most proud of for the first half of the season?
I think our resiliency, and our overall persistence, which is a pillar of ours. We knew coming in that we had a young football team. We knew coming in that the first 5 games were going to be extremely tough. And,
Right.
obviously we wish we could have had that Graceland back. We had all the chances against Mid-America, and those are games we've got to finish and we've got to win. But the sheer fact that I have not seen one person, hang their head, not bring attitude and effort into practice. And that's a testament to our leadership. We had to pull them aside, like, "Hey, we need more of you guys stepping up and leading," and they're a young group leadership wise as well. But they've really done a good job of that. They've held guys accountable, and it's a lot of fun. This is a group that's a lot of fun to be around. So from that standpoint, couldn't ask for anything more. We just now got to go into this last 5, maintain the focus and the high level that we had as we kind of went through the last couple games in the first half of the season.
Absolutely. So you're taking on William Penn as we move forward. Obviously, as we said, they're 5-1, and they are now just receiving votes in the top 25. So that's kind of interesting where they're at. But let's just talk about what they're good at, Coach. They like to run the ball a lot, and they're averaging 34 points a game, 400 total yards of offense, and they're led by their senior running back, Destin Loring. who leads the Statesmen with nearly 800 yards on the season. But the big stat is the 13 touchdowns in their 6 games, which is more than 2 a game. Obviously, he's one of the best backs in the country. What are you going to do to kind of hopefully slow him down?
Well, I think we've got to, number one, be physical at the point of attack. We've got to understand what they're trying to do, that they want to run the ball. We've got to be gap sound. We got to make sure we communicate well. And, ultimately, just be a little bit more disciplined than what we were in the second half of the Benedictine game.
Right.
In that game, I felt like their size started to wear on us a little bit, and we got a little bit worn down. But we've got to maintain that discipline and understand that they do a great job in the run and pass game.
Right.
Get hats to the football and make sure we tackle.
And, Coach, what about on the offensive side? What do you think you need to do to be able to sustain drives?
Well, consistency. I think that that's something that we talk about all the time, is just being consistent. We got to get the offense into kind of the rhythm, so to speak, of the game, where, I feel like we've done a pretty good job of that. We haven't had many 3 and outs, but we've got to sustain those drives. We've got to continually put the pressure on them to not just eat the clock, but, move the ball up and down the field and get points on the board. Obviously, they're a high-powered offense, so the more that we can be consistent offensively, keep him off the field, the more that helps our football team.
Absolutely. So, Coach, now we're heading into the second half of the season. What message would you like to share with Spartan Nation?
Well, I think at the end of the day, I'm just happy of where they've been as a supporting group. They've come out, supported us, and in the home games we've got 2 home games left, and hopefully going into those games, we're on a little bit of a win streak here, and got 2 very good opponents, but winnable games here at home. So continue to show up, continue to be loud and supportive, and that stuff means a ton to us.
It absolutely does. I can tell you this. It's a lot of fun being right here in Spartan Nation when it fills the stands. It's a lot of fun. This place is a rocking for sure.
Yeah.
Certainly our next home games will be on November 1st. And then after that will be the homecoming game right after that. So, well, Coach, we want to wish you all the best this Saturday at 12:30 as you take on William Penn, who are 5-1, and right there in Oskaloosa, Iowa. I just want to say to all you guys watching, thank you for watching all right here on the Spartan Digital Network.